Secretly recorded from deep inside the bowels of a decommissioned missile silo, we bring you the man, one single man who wants to bring light to the darkness and dark to the lightness. Although he's not always right, he is always certain. So now, with security protocols in place, the protesters have been forced back behind the barricades and the blast doors are now sealed. Without further delay, let me introduce you to the host of Hutcast, Mr. Tim Hutner.
Thank you, Sergeant-at-Arms. You can now take your post. The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely those of the individual and participants. These views and opinions expressed do not represent those of the host or the show. The opinions in this broadcast are not to replace your legal, medical, or spiritual professionals. Happy glorious Sunday, 2/12/2023. Going to be kind of a interesting show today. The bombs, the balloons. Well, I like to call them the bombs. So we're going to talk about these balloons that the Chinese are sending over here. And I want you guys to take a moment and just think about them. TAC brace update. Oh boy, I knew they would steer this around. And they are. The TAC brace debacle is raising all kinds of lawsuits. Who makes money? The attorneys do. All right, Biden's race in 2024, just after his State of the Union address. Oh, you're going to want to tune in for that. And, of course, the Minnesota gun legislation, HF14, 15, 396, and 601. We're going to have a little discussion about that. So for Hutcast, stay tuned. I'll be right back. Buying a gun is no ordinary purchase. Whether you're a hunter, competitive shooter, or self-defense is your priority, there are many kinds of guns and many kinds of training programs. You use your brain all the time. You will rarely need to use your gun. Before you find yourself in a situation where you need to make a critical decision, make sure your training is the best you can get. It could be the difference between life and death, or freedom or detention. For the best quality training, check out permittocarry.us. If you live in Minnesota or Wisconsin or even Florida, give Gene German a call, 612-388-2403. That's Permit to Carry US. Or call Gene German at 612-388-2403. Welcome to Hutcast today. It is 12/2/2023, and we're going to talk a little bit about this balloon thing. Now, I'm a big believer in people who don't study the past will be condemned to the future. And I kind of think it's a big thing. So let's talk about these balloons. Even though I know I didn't want to cover this, I'm just like, man, everybody and their brother's covering this. But I'm going to take kind of a different approach to this cover of what this is. So, China, when you're a company that has some huge technological advantages over us, sometimes by staffing people and just the fact they can build things way faster, way cheaper, and we constantly outsource our stuff to them so American companies can keep up. But here's what's going on. Here's what I think is going on. This is my opinion now. As the intro rolls, it says, I'm not always certain, but I am always certain, or however that goes. I mean, sometimes it's just you gotta go out on a limb. Okay, this balloon. First of all, you have my feelings because I said something about it previous in an episode where if you're seeing something simple, stupid, what aren't you seeing? I always try to look around that. That is my Achilles heel. I can't take everything at face value. I'm always looking for that other thing that's happening that they don't want us to know about. And they meaning could be government, could be China, could be whoever they are. They is who they are. Now, this balloon rolls up. They don't shoot it over Oregon. They don't shoot it over the Dakotas or Montana. They don't shoot it over Washington, D.C. They're getting closer to it, but they wait until it gets over Virginia. I mean, to shoot this thing down? They said they didn't want to hurt traffic, hurt people underneath it because it would fall on somebody, etc., etc. All right. Think about it. If I'm going to shoot this thing down, wouldn't you shoot it down over a place that's less dense populated than the East Coast? Or over the ocean? Or, I don't know, take your pick. Somewhere there's got to be some logical stuff. Or wait a minute. You mean to tell me that NORAD didn't see this thing coming before it came into our area? Hey, we got a balloon coming. Maybe we should go send up a fighter jet and flick it out of the sky. I think it's around 56,000 feet. So, you ain't going to hit this with your wrist rocket. 56,000 feet. Seen it coming. We've got outposts in Alaska. We've got outposts on the East Coast, West Coast. We got outposts everywhere. And they wait till it crosses over the U.S. Just can't believe that. I can't even sink my head into that. Why? Why would they wait that long? Right now, it's going to be a Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. What's happening here? All right. My segue to this piece. Back in the old days, and we're talking really old, like between November of 1944 and April of 1945. Remember when I said history repeats itself? Well, ding, ding, here we go. Japan launched more than 9,000 balloon bombs, experimental weapons intended to kill and cause fires. If you're over a populated area, it won't take long. The balloons each carrying an anti-personnel bomb and 2 incendiary bombs. Took about 70 hours to cross the Pacific Ocean. So 70 hours of heads-up time. Back then, with the old crappy radar they had, and with our technology today, 70 hours they took to get across. Balloon bombs from 44 to 45. What do you think they had? Rubber gum and dog crap for this thing? I mean, now they've got some weapons. And if you're still thinking explosives, I don't know. I'm not on that page. Now, we all know that the Wuhan thing happened. We all know where it came from, even though they don't want you to believe that. Oh, it just kind of happened. It started a bat or a monkey or whatever. I mean, like you can trust the news. But let's go a step further. In the 40s, they're dropping gunpowder and whatever they can to blow stuff up, and it's very minimal yielding. But 9,000 of them, you have their attention. Is it experimental? Well, really, not really. I mean, it's an equation. You fill X amount of helium. By the time it makes it, it falls. I mean, who knows what they have for electronics equipment now where you could actually release something, a contagion, or something into the atmosphere. It's a weather balloon? When they have some viruses that can, one trickle of a virus, and they realize, hey, if I did release this in our Wuhan laboratory, and it kicked our own butts because it was, don't cut your nose out, spite your face, and it attacks them first, and then they think they got an antibody to this contagion. But now they can put this in the upper atmosphere. And they can literally email it to us with a balloon. So it ain't a balloon bomb, it's a balloon virus. A contagion. A something that can be way more deadly. Now here's what I don't know. I'm not a virologist. And just like I tell the police, I'm not a physicist when I get pulled over for a speeding ticket. But pay attention to what's happening. It happened in the past with crappy old supplies and equipment, but at the time, state of the art. Pay attention. This is going to be something. I don't look at the face value of this balloon as it was a balloon, and now they've got 3 more they shot down. The Canucks shot one down. They came in over Alaska now. They shot down beforehand, which they should have done the first one. And now they want to do this game? If you were a high-tech, low-tech company, or a country, i.e. China, and you wanted to beat our tech, do you beat them with a balloon? No conspiracy theory here now. I'm kind of not that guy, but I do kind of pay attention a lot. So what happens when they send over contagion and it makes the upper atmosphere? Does it die because it's too cold? What's the environment this is in? Blah, blah, blah. Put a balloon anywhere. Make the right altitude. program the right equipment to fly the right jet streams. Think about it. We got guys running around with balloon companies. Hey, we're going to lift off here, like down in Minneapolis here, or down in Stillwater, and we're going to fly up to the North Shore. Well, if you can do that, you can find a jet stream, you can make this work. Or am I just out in left field? I don't think I am. I think there's something going on here. Again, not conspiracy, just don't make any sense. You had all these centuries, all these decades to fly crap over here, and the lowest tech approach gets over our capital, gets over our cities. You can't fly a plane over here without getting their ass shot down. Our leadership, I cough lightly on that, says we're going to wait till it gets all the way across the freaking country to do this? I don't know. I was born at night, but it was not last night. I want you guys to think about it. The Ukrainian guys, you're listening. Ukraine, I love you. Again, thanks for the emails and the conversation. But think about how easy it would be. You're in a war-torn country. It's a screwed up deal. How easy would it be to send a balloon somewhere? Everybody's got helium. Send it, launch it, program it. You can even watch a satellite recon of it and drop it exactly where you want to. So it's no longer like in 45, where it's just hey, we're going to drop it somewhere, 9,000. You just need one. A couple of solar panels, keep it active. Yeah. That's what's been going through my head on this whole deal. Kind of why I didn't jump into an episode last week. It's like, this don't make any sense. What do you say? What do you say out there? Again, without doing the conspiracy thing, just kind of focus on, we're the strongest country on the planet. Hey, a balloon gets through our defenses? How dumb am I? How dumb are they? Don't believe it. Don't believe for a second. So, 56,000 feet, you're not going to get up there with you can't get up there with a helicopter. You can't just capture the thing. And if you do, I don't know. I also thought about capturing this thing too. We fly banners over our cities for elections, for special events. You've seen them. Blah, blah, blah for president, blah, blah. Why couldn't you get a slower flying jet, like a Harrier type based, put a hook on it, and retrieve this? Because by the time this thing hits the ground, you ain't going to have crap left. This thing's going to be a mangled mess. So what do you perform the autopsy on? Some electronic hardware, some barometric readings, some gauges, some what? I don't know. Don't want you to think about that, people. In any country which you live in, how easily in low tech you could deliver a chemical weapon or a biological weapon. Funny, the guys in Afghanistan and all those guys aren't thinking this because they got like a lot of wind out in that desert. And if they wanted to bomb our bases, they won't need a plane to do it. Now we got to have a plane in the air 24/7 to pop these things as they come across. And if you had 6,000 of them, do you really think the combat multiplier of that's going to be 6,000? Was it AM9, AM7 Sidewinders by Siemens? Raytheon made that one. How many do they hold? 4, 5, 6? Not 6,000. So all they got to do is launch balloons and deplete our inventory, our weapons cache? I don't know. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Hey, it's a balloon. Ding, ding, ding. Crap's happening behind the scenes. Ding, ding, ding. Pay attention to the past. 45 to 46, 44 to 45. Oh, I don't know. You guys need to just to pump the brakes and what's going on here? So that's kind of my thought on this balloon thing. And again, I told you I did not want to roll out this. It's on everybody's news channel. Hey, we got a balloon. Until I saw the other three. The other three balloons that were trying to make it over here. Again, the Canucks, Alaska. They did another one over the Pacific. I'm kind of paying attention. I think you should. There's something going on here. And it ain't coincidence and magic that it's a weather balloon, quote unquote. Again. Ask questions. Pay attention. Go to the news sources that you can trust. Put it together in your own head. Focus on what we know. And if you younger guys, people, have not learned about the balloon bombs from World War II, the Japanese are very cunning. They're very cunning. And they caught us by surprise because we weren't launching no balloons, not that I was aware of. But again, I'm not always certain, but I could be certainly almost certain. But that's a thing. But I don't remember ever us doing any, just weather balloons. Okay, this going to wrap our first segment up. I want you to listen and think about what I was, saw this week, and I'm just like, I got to put this out there. Regardless of what country you're in, think about it. You don't need a $500 million plane or a delivery package that can come from space or Starlab or whatever it is that you think we can send this over this when you can simply just put some helium in a balloon and send it. Hey, $1.95 or $1.05 from the store and a balloon and an antigen. Eventually it's going to land. Just hopefully don't land on yourself. But I don't know. I don't see China putting any airplanes in airspace, but they certainly can put a balloon in it. So we're about 13 minutes and 29 seconds into this first segment. Moving on next, we're going to talk about that tack brace. I talked about it a couple shows ago, maybe last show, and you're going to hear some things. So stand by for podcast. I'll be right back. The current healthcare system is not meeting the needs of real people. People are demanding better care, better options, and want results. So Graith Care has launched and is advocating for those in the U.S. and internationally, as people are realizing the controlled system has not been there for them. If you want your own independent advocate that is not controlled by big corporations, call or text and enroll today to get your advocate for your needs, serving all ages. For any healthcare need you might have, you matter. Here's how you get started. www.graithcare.com. GRAITHCARE.com. Call Graith Care Direct 1-469-864-7149. Call or text a question to Healthcare Sucks and get an advocate with Graith Care 1-469-864-7149. Mention Hutcast and you'll get a 10% discount on your advocacy bundle. And the staff at Graith Care will take care of you. Remember to mention Hutcast, get that extra 10% off your first bundle of time. And this is all brought to you from Graith Care. Okay, where'd we leave off? Oh yes, the tack brace update. So, if you listen to my last show about SIG tack brace, there's a bunch of other manufacturers that make this tactical brace that turns an AR pistol with under 16-inch barrel or 16-inch over length in barrel into an SBR, short-barreled rifle. Part of the NFA Act, 30s, 34. NFA was originally enacted in 1934, if I remember right. Similar to the current NFA, original act imposed a tax on making a transfer or a transfer of firearms defined by the act, as well as a special occupational tax, again, that's taxed twice in that sentence, for persons that entities engaged in the business of importing or manufacturing dealing NFA products. So, you had to register because the gangsters were having too much, it was all kinds of crap back then. So the ATF made a ruling. And if you listen to the last show, it's about this tack brace, this device, this invention that makes a pistol attached to your forearm with a strap or a lever or a clasp of some sort. Pretty straightforward thing, but when you bring this weapon to your shoulder and you fire it as a shoulder height, it becomes an SBR. Now, the ATF was trying to figure out a ruling on this and how they were going to make this happen and squinch this down. But in one of the speeches that Biden put out there, that because of this tack brace, it made it ultra dangerous. No, not the pukes who were operating it, but the gun made it dangerous. And then the ATF kicks in and we have all this blah. Now, the way rights are going, you're taking my gun rights, you're doing this, we're going to come after it. You can't do this or stop it. But they kind of can. They can bureaucracy this thing right out the window. So here's the gig. 25 states. Now, this is right off the website of the Fox News, and I'm going to plagiarize this for a minute. It says here, NRA joined in lawsuits by SB Tactical, B&T USA, Wounded Warrior Richard Ciro, and a coalition of 25 states, led by West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisley and a North Dakota Attorney General Drew Ringley, including Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, and Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming. Okay, did I name any Democratic states there? That's 25. That's about 50% of our state, but it ain't 50% of our voting power. Now, these guys go in there and stir this up, which, hey, NRA's got a suit. I mean, they're going to start suing the Biden administration or the old Biden administration, and they're going to say this is overreach. I read the article, and I'm kind of on the page. I get it. But the ATF in their overreach, and I'm an ATF. I am a registered FFL. We took our training on this. I told you that I would get back to you on the training. I did pay attention to it. We took it. There was so much coverage. It was such a big thing that no one person or no one individual could even ask a question. They try to dress it up and say, "Oh, Billy Bob from Bo Buxom has a question," and there's thousands of us online. So how are you going to get out there and answer specific questions? He has a question that's a little different than mine. Mine's a little different than his. And they say, well, just contact your local IOI agency. And IOI is a term for our local offices. Just what I want to do is ring that bell. Hey, what if you got 90 of them? And oh, dude. Again, as I mentioned before, I do not have any of these weapons. They're all of 16 inches and greater. But there are people that do. And it's still, they bought it in this method at the time, which now they don't have reciprocity back to their own purchase time. Hey, we're going to make this, we're going to make you felony now. And their answer was to, okay, you've got some things you can do with this if you own one of these. Now it's possession, not intent. So if you have one of these and you want to sell it, that becomes intent. But if you actually own one of these after, I think it was May, and I'm hoping that these lawsuits have an injunction against this May deadline, that they'll register it and waive the $200 fee, and really going to hit us with a wallet. You want us to A, destroy the weapon, B, turn it in, C, change the barrel, and or D, take off the rear stock. Well, I don't think anybody's going to be turning it in. And if you do, it's going to be some plastic piece of crap that shoots BBs. And they didn't address any of the guns that are homemade, which surprises me. So they're so busy not paying attention to the ones that most people have that they aren't paying attention to that. So now what? It's just an automatic felony. There's no numbers on the gun because it's a home built. You don't buy them to commerce. You buy them to collect. You buy them for yourself. They call them ghost guns, if I remember right. There's no ghost here. I don't think there's a lot of Caspers out there. I mean, come on, people. If you buy this, you're buying it for yourself. You're not building a bunch and selling them. If you are, then who are you going to trace them to? This is a registry issue. The United States of America has a registration against the law program, unless you have an SBR or you're part of the NFA Act, National Firearms Act. So they want to take and do what? Follow you, guide you, watch you? How many criminals are going to register a gun to go shoot up a nightclub or a school or a bus or a Wendy's or, how about a football game? And it's not that hard I mean, as our last thing shows, I mean, low tech, send a balloon instead of an aircraft to get anything into anywhere. You want to get a rifle in somewhere, okay, you ain't gonna stop them. You want to get it into a nightclub, you think they're going to hear them coming? I don't think so. So when they start doing this, and I told you there would be some fallout, I mentioned it. I said, look, this ain't the end of this. These guys are going to get their butt in a ringer. And here they are. Butt in ringer. Now, can they protect us? We shouldn't fear our government. Our government should fear us. I think January 6th proved that. And they were plenty scared. The quote-unquote insurrection. Mm-hmm. You want insurrection, start doing that. Because the people that don't like guns still don't have them for the people that do. Ring that bell, because you ain't unringing it. So my thought here is, okay, there's some common sense in this. There's some legislation coming up in Minnesota that I'm going to cover in my next segment after the Biden run in 24, especially after the State of the Union address, which I'm going to address in this next segment and go, what's he thinking? Yeah, I'll cover that next. But still, the tack brace, I knew it was going to be an issue. It is an issue. I seen it coming. I told you about it. So if you guys were listening, what do? Do you get involved? Do you write your senator? Do you? Yes, you do. You do involve. If you ain't got time, make time. Everybody's got a pen. Everybody's got a paper. They can send a letter. You can send an email. You can, they can ignore you all kinds of ways, but they're not going to ignore the volume of it. 25 states in our United States here is a little PO'd about that. Of course, my state isn't. They are not part of this lawsuit. Ellenson's probably not going to do this because he's got his other fingers in a bunch of crap. He's going after our own favorite Scott Jensen for things he don't believe in. And now he's going to use his office to weaponize Dr. Jensen's agenda, which is now, again, the problem. So you see, guys, sometimes you just got to sit back and go, what's going on? Engage. Engage at every level. You might not think that, you have no power. You do. You have a ton of power. You just got to move forward with it. Get involved. Get at your school boards. Stop critical race theory. Stop gender evil, blah, blah. Stop, what's the other one? Furries. Stop the furries. If you guys don't know what a furry is, these kids who want to reassign species to their genderless whatever bull crap. A furry is a person, place, or thing, and I'll use the improper gender here all day long. And guys and gals wear a tail. They walk around. They meow. They chirp. They cricket. They bark. They go to the bathroom in a box of sand. Not unlike your kitty. Yes. And we're letting them do it. Tell us we don't have a mental health issue in this country, and I'll show you a furry. And if you think it's okay, you're part of the problem. I'm okay with calling you part of the problem. You don't like it, don't tune in. Furries. Just a matter of time. I was thinking this earlier. If the furries became AI, could you do an AI furry? I don't know. I suppose it's called like cosplay or some crap, isn't it? I don't even know. AI furries. That'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it? But it's not funny in our schools. It's certainly not. It's a very serious mental capacity thing. Not only by the school board, by the teachers, by the principal, and by the students walking around with a tail taped to their butt. Or a collar, or whatever they're doing. I don't even know. I'm trying to get a school member incognito on this show to give us their input on this, because they see it every day. And I'll tell you what, I hear some pretty crazy things. Check in with your school. Ask if they got any furries there. I don't even know if they can comment on it. They can accept it, but they can't comment on it, I bet you. School rights and privileges and protecting the students of their furriness and mental illnesses. You lock them up for 2 years, get them off the streets. This is what we're doing. Put them in lockdown. Put them in COVID lockdown. See what they do. Now you have that answer. What next? I don't even know what next. You can't even make this stuff up. I cannot write this material because it's that insane. Again, if you're one of the people listening and think that furries is okay, email me. I'll tell you why you're wrong. Send me a text. Wait. Send me an instant message. A DM, they call it. I don't even know what DM is, but it's a DM. Send one. I will be glad to explain to you. Call me up. Where do you want to meet? Oh, yeah. People, species, humans, we have changed the prefaces of what evolution is. And I think Darwin would be laughing his butt off today, as he should. Because, again, you cannot write this. We are 18 seconds into this next segment here, and I'm going to roll into my next one, which is I'm going to cover this Biden run in 24. Just some thoughts. Again, I'm not always right, but I am always certain, and I'm certainly going to be right on this one. Stand by, Hutcast. We'll be right back. Now a word from our sponsors. Today's sponsor in part by Excel Roofing. Excel Roofing, they do it all. Roofs, siding, framing. You need a house? Give Excel a call. I've used these guys personally in the past, have a professional crew. They're conscious of your job, and they want to produce the finest quality of craftsmanship available. Excel Roofing, 763-712-0757. Again, 763-712-0757. Excel Roofing, Dayton, Minnesota. Okay, guys, gals, pronouns, whoever we got out there listening. Biden's run. How many of you guys, with a show of emails, because we can't use hands here, listen to the State of the Union address by Biden himself? What'd you think of it? Did you think that maybe he was a little on the outside? I do have to say his speech was much better. The audio quality was better. I'm an audio guy, so, audio is kind of important to me. And when you get a change in volume or amplitude or attenuation or whatever, you kind of hear that. I mean, I zone in on it. And he did pretty good there. Usually you hear a whoa, 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 and then he's right in your face, and then he's, it's just this back and forth thing. But this time, somebody had the ducks in a row. All right, then. He announced several times, and he affirmed it here this week, that he will again be running in 24. Please run. Please run. Because DeSantis will chew you up. It won't be Trump. Maybe they'll hate Trump. I can see why they hate Trump. I get it. Kind of a Trumper, not a Trumper. I got some... Okay, I'm lying. I don't have no Biden things that I like. But the feeling's there. I have intentions a lot to like him. Him and his goofy, the goofy stuff he says. But again, you listen to his coherent speech. And then the way he placed that, and the way Marjorie kind of called him out on all these things. And she had every right, because now they're all pissy because, the Republicans couldn't keep their mouths shut and they made it hostile. Well, I'm telling you what, I seen the Speaker of the House stand up and rip somebody's speech up. Well, not stand up, but rip it up, because she was a flaming idiot. And now that the Republicans have control of the Senate, federal Senate, he sat back and did what a professional would do. And I really wanted him to rip that speech up, because payback's a bitch, and it's best served cold. Okay, that's the meanness in me coming out, but I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand listening to him. Everything's doing so good. Everything is so great. The economy is wonderful. When was the last time you paid $7 for a dozen of eggs? or $4, $5 for a gallon of gas, or $4.99 for diesel. These guys don't work. They don't pay for a living. They talk for a living. And you guys keep putting them in there. Not my guys, you guys, but you know who you guys are. You keep voting for them. If you voted for them, you are the problem. I've been saying that a lot lately, haven't I? I'm assigning blame. Just like Biden is. He assigns blame. How did you like the one where he... Oh, yeah. He wanted you to realize that they're securing our borders. Did you hear Marjorie in the background then? I thought she was going to blow a gasket. I'm thinking, go, girl, go. Oh, yeah. And then what's his famous thing? Come on, man, look it up. Look it up. Really? Go look it up? You don't have to look it up. Go to your immigration office. What are you passing laws for that illegal aliens can vote? So they can vote for you? You're encompassing the voting district, the voting people, the illegals, to vote for you so that you can keep getting put in office. You're weaponizing the system against the people who actually worked for it, who cherish the system. That's a big FU to me. You're using that system against us. Don't think we ain't smart enough to see it. That's messed up. You're going to keep pushing that. You're going to keep having that thing out there that says the January 6th thing. And they won't have cell phones in their hands. As they shouldn't. But you always ask yourself, who's the people that take the first shot? Who are the people that say, I'll be first, but you better doggone be second? Because first don't mean nothing if second ain't next. And third, and so on, until you have a movement, a group, a people. The people that are of this United States. It's kind of how I feel. I don't know. Kind of seems weird, doesn't it? Kind of seems like surreal. The way you grew up. Whether you're Republican or Democrat or independent or smoke a pot or LGBTQRS, whatever your thing is. If we didn't have it that way in the beginning, you wouldn't be an LGBTQRS TV, guys. You wouldn't be a furry. You wouldn't be anything because of our freedoms. You know, everybody says you got to get out and vote. They're absolutely right. But you just can't vote off of quips on TVs and sound bites and disinformation that everybody likes, because we are in a dangerous time, people. We are in such a dangerous time. Our media has failed us. There is no common sense. There is no integrity in our media. Proving point, Liz Collins. Liz Collins, love her to death. Came in here, did her book deal. She told us what's going on with the Floyd deal. Her husband, Mr. Kroll, Bob Kroll, union president at the time, for Derek Chauvin and the other three guys. If you haven't read her book, I think you need to engage that book just a little bit. Read the preface, read the forwards, whatever you got to do, or just buy the book. I mean, it's, I'm not plugging her book for her, don't get me wrong. But they, because they were both in studio, have a lot of common sense. They just sat back. And to my point, because of her association with her husband, i.e. her marriage, WCCO dumped her. Oh, yeah, you can't go back on here. That's wrong. They did that to her. She no longer works for him. No doubt. Interesting book. I'm not all the way through mine yet. I don't know. So can you trust your media? Can you trust the Star and Tribune in Minneapolis here? Can you trust any of the Republican stations? Because they always want to do the fliff and flaff and church it up. You just can't get a solid answer. And you got to put this filter on people, this BS filter on each ear, but yet keeping one ear open. So with the filters on and one ear, you have to figure out how to do this. See how they vote. Pay attention. You can vote anywhere. With the big Googleizer, you can get any information you want. And then some. But you got to take the time to do it. And there's where the Republicans fail. They're too busy not involving themselves. The young are too busy not involving themselves in politics, except for the ones who vote for a living. And that is their job. Their job is to vote. So they sit on their ass, they vote, they figure out how to not work for a living. You know, a standard guy will look at a problem and say, how do I do this? And the people that vote for a living are going to look at this and go, how do I not do this? Hey, my business figured out. My business to figure out that our government's going to work for us. Our government definitely works for us. You, me, them, everyone. The whole stuff coming down with the health and human services stuff going on here in the cities and how they're misappropriation of funds again. Oh, here we go. They just did this with some Feed the Children program and how they're buying all this. I don't know. I don't even know enough. I can't even speak enough to know how much I don't know about that. Other than I know it ain't right. It's money to feed them. Don't be buying big houses and sending money back to your country and Mercedes and BMWs and everything that you can possibly throw money at, because we're paying that. Because someone's writing checks. We're the ones paying it, but someone's writing it. And these people are in charge of our money. They're in charge of your money. How do you want it to go? How do you want to spend it? I don't know if I'm going to give it to Feed the Children or if the state's going to decide for me that we're going to give it to Feed the Children. Yeah. And we've had some people around here that were in that mix and they did the right thing and they returned that money that was given to them. Hats off to those guys. It shouldn't be anything other than, okay, it's not my dough. But it's free money. They took it. It's easy free money. Again, how do I not work? That's how you do it. You take it. Okay, so sorry to rant you on the left side there, but do you think Biden's got a shot in 24? I don't know. Send me a message. I'm all over Hatebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on just about every social media platform there is. Send it up to me. Say, hey. Okay, so here's a caveat, though. If you guys are from out of country and you don't know what's going on, don't send me nothing because I can't read it anyway. I'm trying to get through that filter, but yeah, here we are. And you don't know Biden anyway, so that's your country, not your problem. As we say, not my circus, not my monkeys. But I believe that our commander-in-chiefless he got it. He just does not have it. He is socially incompetent. He is medically incompetent. He is, you name it. He's not there. And it's a matter of time before someone pulls that amendment on him where there says, we have a commander-in-chief that is unable to do this, or is that the plan for next term? So crazy Camilla can jump in. Kind of sounds like a plan. Not that I am a conspiracy theorist too much on the left side, but I would have suspected this would have happened already. But maybe Sleepy Joe can keep that happening. I mean, keep the wolves at bay. Yeah. State of the Union. What a debacle. Incredibly wrong at every level. I know a lot of guys that didn't watch it. And shame on you guys. You should have watched it because, you know, I get why you didn't. But sometimes you just got to drive by an accident and open your eyes and look, because this is an accident. This is a collision of beyond biblical proportions. Even though we know the outcome, you gotta read the people. Look at their body language. Pay attention to what they're saying, how they're moving their hands, and how the rapid eye movement of their eyes, and do they flare up and their nostrils get bigger? There's a whole bunch of things going on when you read body language. Pay attention to it, because you can tell when someone's lying at the blink of an eye. Most cops can. So pay attention to when these guys start talking. Of course, how do you tell when a politician is lying? Yeah, their lips are moving. Kind of an old joke, but it's still pretty active, pretty real. All right, what are we? 12. Oh, wow, we are 13 minutes into this segment. I just wanted a quick brush on this, and here I am, spooling this up. So, last one. We're going to cover the HR 1415, 396, and 601 right here in our own lovely, beautiful Twin Cities. And then we'll have a conversation about those. So thanks again. Stand by. Be right back. In today's busy world, staying healthy and alert have become essential for those of us who want to get the most out of ourselves. So before you reach for that energy drink, ask yourself, are you really giving your body the best? If you want the energy without the jitters that commonly come from today's most popular energy drinks, then reach for something better. Reach for Super Fuel. Super Fuel is made by Casmo Incorporated. Super Fuel is a healthy boost. Super Fuel is made with vitamins B6, B12, and taurine, that is a amino acid that aids in weight loss and protects heart tissue. Beetroot powder and other healthy ingredients that will give you a quick, healthy boost. Make Super Fuel a great tasting, low-calorie addition to your daily regimen. Super Fuel by Casmo Incorporated. It can be ordered by visiting our website at www.superfuel.me or calling 833-383-5912. That's right, Super Fuel by Casmo Incorporated at www.superfuel.me or calling 833-383-5912. Super Fuel. All right, welcome back to Podcast. As I mentioned before, HF 1415, 396, and 601. I'm going to cover 1415, 396. 601 is more of a Health and Human Services HF, House Floor. But we're going to start this out with HF 14. Let's start that one. As you know, or might not know, in this here state of our lovely MN, I'm a weapons guy. I'm kind of a gun guy. I'm a Second Amendment guy. I'm a First Amendment guy. I'm pretty much an all-amendment guy. And they have laws in place. They already have these laws in place for purchase of these types of guns. You just can't walk on the street and buy a gun. You can't get online and order one. You cannot just have one sent to you on whatever, contrary to what these people want you to believe. It does not work that way. Now, let's tell them why. I'm going to encompass this in a way of understanding what happens when you want to purchase a gun. If you walk into a store and say, okay, I want that pistol, I want to do some target shooting, I want to do some 3-gun competition, whatever your motive is completely yours, and you have every right to own that weapon, as set forth in our Constitution. Because the first one is about what? Free speech. And then they figured out, hey, maybe we should have, on top of free speech, a way to protect yourself, which is the Second Amendment, so you can say what you want to say. That's why our forefathers went, hey, free speech won. Yeah, you should probably have a gun to protect your first right. And then all the rights beyond that. So, you ain't just walking in. You ain't just happening. It ain't going to just go that way. We have laws. We already have these laws. We already abide by these laws. And the law-abiding people in this country abide by these laws, i.e. laws. You go into a store. You purchase this gun. You get a form called a 4473. Now, this is a pretty complete and recently modified to include, i.e., non-gender people. In my head, if you don't know if you're a man or a woman or a boy or a girl or a furry or whatever, you automatically shouldn't be buying a gun. And as a dealer, you can at any point say, I will not sell you this gun. Because I can't believe that you don't even know if you're peeing standing up or sitting down. Okay, that's kind of grounds for saying you really shouldn't have a gun if you don't know how to go to the bathroom. So, I have not had a non-binary yet. And again, if I do, and you come in looking for a unit, I'm going to deny you on whatever case I want. And if you don't like it, tough. Because it shows that you're not capable enough to figure out that you're non-binary. Or a male or a female, or whatever your genetic composition is. You could be a frog for all I care. And if it ain't on the list, you don't get a gun. All right, where was that? Okay, so you come into this store and you buy this gun and you fill this form out, and there's probably 50 questions on there, and if you answer any one wrong, which means against what you really know to be true, creates a felony. Anything on this piece of paper will be a felony, and it will be charged thing here. This is a federal thing. So you buy this gun, you go through this process. First of all, before you buy the gun, you have to have, like a pistol, you have to have a permit to acquire. You go to your local chief, your police chief, say, I want to buy a gun. They do a background check. They do, okay, this is background check number one. They do this background check on you. They say, okay, I guess you're capable of having a gun. But I don't think on their permit they ask you neutral gender questions or what is that one, non-binary questions. They just say male or female, and you check one. Okay. I have not seen a purchase to acquire in a long time because we're kind of carry guys, and it's not on our carry. At least it wasn't back then. Might be now. You buy this, you get this okay. You go to your gun shop, your gun store, your Shields, your Cabela's, your wherever you're buying, Fleet Farm. You hand this to the clerk. The clerk says, okay, is this within a certain time date? Are you still eligible to purchase? And you have to check that. So there's a clock on this, people. Every purchase, every carry, everything has a clock. You get this in, you put this on, you put it on the form. Okay, you're ready to go. You fill all these things out. You have not lied on this form, which again is a felony. This form's filled out. The clerk takes it. He now addresses his portion of it, which is verify you are who you are. You have picked the right box for what kind of gender you are, where you were born, all the things necessary on this form. So now what you do is you take it and you put it into a system called NICS check. You enter some of the information, again, because the United States does not have a gun registry. We cannot tell them what kind of gun you're buying. It's either a long gun, a short gun, or a shotgun, which is considered a long gun. So basically, pistols, non-pistols is what we get. We transmit that data, or we call it in to the feds in Quantico. Quantico says, okay, Mr. Customer XYZ wants to buy this gun. First of all, did he get the first step done? And me as a dealer say, yes, he has a permit to acquire or carry. Secondly, it goes to the feds. The feds say, okay, now we got to look a little more closer because he's actually buying a gun. I don't know what they do on their side. I would imagine it's some type of a level 1 investigative check. They transmit the data back to me. It's either read away or it sits. If it sits, they're doing a much bigger, much more in-depth check. Now, what they're doing on their side, if it sits, I don't know. All I get on my side is researching. Now, if it comes back, says researching, and it passes the Brady date, which the Brady date is, they can't stop you from owning it, but they have to have a reason why they cannot give you this gun. Brady date is so many days after your purchase. At that point, I can transfer on the Brady date. The Brady date says, okay, on this day, this person is eligible to acquire this weapon. If it comes back denied, sale's done. You can't sell them a gun, which it should be a yes or no for me, not a maybe or a Brady or whatever. I'm kind of like, I'm a binary guy. It works or it don't. If it don't work, tell me no, because I have no reason not selling it to them. I don't care. But they don't do that all the time. I get more hangs than I do no's. Been in business for a long time. I've had one no, and the rest were hangs, which surprises me. If there's a reason to hang them, there should be a reason to deny them. Step 3. It comes back, yes, no, maybe, or fail. Let's say it comes back a yes, a proceed. We take what is called an NTN number, we put it on the federally mandated form. The form stays in our possession until we get out of the business, which is the NTN number and all the information. Because we do not have a gun registry, that form stays in with me until I get out of the business. At that point, I have to turn my files in to the feds, and now they have a registry. So they're going to have a registration. It just depends on how long I'm going to be in business, the gun business. They could circumvent my license and shut it off and then get their registry much better, but I'm little fish. I'm a very little fish compared to some of these people who are moving hundreds and thousands of guns. Either way, I could see the holes in this. 14, HF14. Now, it says criminal background checks required for firearm transfers and grounds for modification or disqualifying the transferee permit. I certainly know the front part of this sentence. And grounds for modified for disqualification or transferee permit. I don't know what that means, and there's not enough verbiage on it. So I'm going to dig into that one. We already have this law. We've had it. HF14 is a null point for me. There's no reason to have it. Because, again, we're splitting hairs here. I mean, criminal background checks are required. They're already required. Now, if they're trying to say it's required for every gun sale, different gig. So if I want to sell you my gun personally, we don't have one of those. You can, I would advise it, because the last known name that gun was in was yours. If it gets used in a felony, and all of a sudden they tie that ballistics to you, well, you better have an excuse where that gun went. So I could see the safety factor in that. All right, so now the second part of this. The grounds modified for disqualification of transferee permit. There's some loose verbiage there. That don't even make sense. What are they modifying? Modifying for disqualification? For why? Did you rob a bank from by the time you got your permit to the time it expires, and all of a sudden, no, that don't work that way. If you're in Minnesota and you have a permit to carry or acquire, those get revoked instantly. And it's done exactly when you go in front of the judge. So again, what does HF14 do? In the 2324 status of the House of the 93rd Legislature, I don't think it does nothing. And authors are Pinto, Moeller, Hortman, Long, Fraser. I mean, look it up. It's just, there's 20 guys on here. Everybody wants to throw their little thing in there. I get it. Judiciary, Finance, and Civil Law. They report to that committee. I don't know. All right, so we've covered the HF14. Let's say goodbye to that one. And let's jump up to HF15. Law enforcement and family members enabled to petition a court to prohibit people from possessing firearms if they pose a significant danger to themselves or others by possessing a firearm. And money appropriated. Kind of a red flag thing, isn't it? I mean, but we have this. If you do something and you're a card-carrying member of the Second Amendment, and you got pinched, which means you got caught, you don't need law enforcement to do that. Anybody can do that. The judge will take that into consideration and say, oh, yeah, I guess he is a threat to himself or somebody or whatever. Anybody can petition a court at any point in time if they're a threat with a weapon. Period. HF15, fail. You always could. And why just law enforcement and family members? It's anybody. Police can do that now. Family members can do that now. When can they not be enabled to petition a court? You don't need okay to petition a court. Anybody can petition a court for any reason. Yeah, he's messed up in the head and he shouldn't have a gun. Okay. We need a law. We need an HF15 law to say it's okay to go ahead and do that. They've been doing that for a long time. So again, HF15, fail. Fail, big fail. All right, HF396. All right, okay, here's a good one. House Floor 396 of the 2023-2024 93rd Legislature. Description is, safe storage of firearms and ammunition required. Violation of safe storing statute includes ineligibility to possess firearms lockdown device required to be included in each firearm transfer, and the criminal penalties imposed. All right, let me break this down for you. Safe storage of firearms. If you are, again, a card-carrying member of the Second Amendment, and you leave your gun somewhere, and you forget about it, or you whatever, there's going to be a crap sandwich coming down. Do you really need a law to tell you this again? You put it in possession of a minor. That's really tough shape, because now you've got a felony against you because you had a gun that was sitting on the table and your 10, 12-year-old kid picks it up and shoots some kid. How many times have we heard that in the story, in the news? Constant. Okay, endangerment of a minor. Same thing. Now they're going to do endangerment of a person. So let's say the guy's 30 and picks his gun up. He's going to shoot somebody. Little Alec Baldwin going on here? I don't know. Required safe storage of firearms and ammunition required. We already have this law. What are you making a law for? It's like having a meeting about a meeting. You don't do it. You don't do it. And to have a law about a law is just dumbness. Main authors, 23 of them. Becker, Flynn, Moeller, Pinto, Curran. No, Curran. Curran. I mean, we've already had this law. So to make another law about a law is and they're not, they're enforcing the first one, because if you leave something out and some kid gets hold of it and pops another kid with it, it's going to be a bad day for everyone, including the guy who owns that gun. All right, the inability to possess firearms, lockdown device required to be included for each firearm transfer. Okay, ding, 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 ding. It's already a thing. Did you know that no matter what you buy from whatever vendor, whatever manufacturer you have, they usually come with a gun lock? Every time. It's to the point where you have so many gun locks, you sell the gun, you keep the lock. You have so many locks sitting around, and you get locks from your local police department. You get locks from manufacturers. You say, if you call up Remington and say, hey, I need a bunch of locks, they're going to send you locks. They don't even care. I got 10 guns I'm going to lock up. Okay, you're going to have a Remington lock on there. It's a way for them to advertise. It's a way for them to get to their name in your closet and your whatever. So again, another law about a law. Now, if you are a card-carrying member and you're carrying a gun, you're not putting a lock on it. It is not going to happen. Hence the carry part. So that at that point, there's no reason to have a lock on your carry, because no one does that. Matter of fact, you got one in the pipe, your safety's off if you have a gun with safety, and you are cocked and locked and ready to rock. HF14 in the House 93rd legislation fail at every level, because we already have this law. Criminal penalties imposed. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Look that one up. Unbelievable. People, this is common sense. This is common sense. If you're a gun guy, you already know these rules. If you're not a gun guy and have to be told how to safety a weapon, or to holster a weapon, or to when to draw your weapon, you don't need a gun. You need someone with a gun. Or at least someone with some common sense. So heads up, HF396 fail. I'm not going to go into the 601 because that's a different topic, more of a Health and Human Services conversation. And that I guess it kind of fits here, but I'm not going to roll it on the show. All right, what do we got here? Where's our timer? 17 minutes, 50 minutes. Sorry for the long show. I wanted to keep it around 40 minutes with pre-roll, post-roll, and some sponsors, but we're going to roll it here. Everybody have a great and a wonderful rest of their day. 2/12/2023 on this wonderful Sunday here. It's not 5,000 below zero. It's actually pretty nice out. I'm going to go take the kids for a walk, grandkids, and just enjoy the day. So I'll get this put up. 5 o'clock drop, as always. Hutcast appreciates everyone listening. Hutcast appreciates everyone chiming in. And you have the wonderful rest of your day. Thanks all, and see you next time. And that's a wrap for Hutcast. Hutcast is, again, a pragmatic approach to seeing things how some people see them. If you like our show, give us a thumbs up on the Facebook site. Again, for Hutcast, thank you again. Have a wonderful evening.